Hey everyone, Elizabeth here, and today I'm talking about my Xeno Shenron deck, which is pretty fun for the player, but not very much fun for the opponent. As James will attest, and many people at locals will say, it both feels a little bit boring and just like you can't do very much as the opponent. So on his front side, he does have blocker, which seems a little bit weird, but comes into play with your unison because you want to protect it. And then he has this ability that when you activate a Shadow Dragon extra card from your hand, you and your opponent play the top card of your deck into your drop area, and on the other side, just your opponent mills. And then he also, when he swings, you choose one Shadow Dragon card in your hand, you discard it, and then you can draw one. And as you'll soon see, every time you discard a card or play a card, a Shadow Dragon, they all have the same text effect that essentially says when you play them or discard them, you get to look at the top card of your deck and grab it if it's a Shadow Dragon card, which is every single card in your deck except for the Unison, because Unisons don't have types or traits. And then his Awaken is when you have 7 or more black Shadow Dragons in your drop area, or the normal 4 or less. You do the normal Awaken, draw one, switch one, flip him. And then, as said, the only difference is he only mills your opponent, not you, when you play extra cards. And he then just draws one on his front side, and he becomes a 20k when he attacks. I should also mention on both sides, he gets to switch to active mode, so he can use that blocker at the end of your turn. And then he also has a once per turn spirit boost effect where you can play a Shadow Dragon extra card. So as said, he seems relatively inoffensive, but as you start playing all of these Shadow Dragons, you just kind of start churning little bits of value over and over again, which as said, can be a little bit boring for your opponent as you just spin your wheels repeatedly, controlling the board until they mill out. So we'll start here with the Unison. We have Toa, the Resonance of Shadow. Mainly, you play her whenever you activate a blocker on your leader. She gets an extra marker, and you place the top card of your deck in your drop area. It doesn't come up very much because most opponents just won't swing at her. They'll just go at your leader instead. But you can even be blocking for your battle cards or other things like that. And then mainly you'll use her +1 where you draw a card and then choose one card in your hand and up to 3 Shadow Dragon extra cards from your drop area and place them at the bottom. You generally want to start the game and mull pretty hard either for her or for this first extra card, which is Negative Energy Explosion, which all of your extra cards have a limit 1 for their activate main / battle. And you can use this card, look for either another extra card, or you can find your Unison and put it into play. So you want to start the game with either Toa or Negative Energy Explosion, so you can get her on the board and start getting value from her. As said, she helps you churn through your deck to look for your cards that you want, and on your Awaken side, you can Spirit Boost off of her to play more extra cards. So we play 4 of her, 4 of Negative Energy Explosion. Then we have Ultimate Whirlwind Spin, we play 4 of. You look at the top 5 cards from your deck, and then you can add 1 Black Shadow Dragon card into your hand. You can also then choose to pitch one to give your leader +1k. This can help you get out of, if you're on this side 11k, you become an 11k. So it's kind of like an extra combo card without really being one, depending on the deck, and on the side, it can make you a 16k. But also when you do that, you get to pitch a card maybe you don't want, a Shadow Dragon card, battle card, I should say, and then you get to look at the top card and possibly draw it. So we play 4 of these. We play 4 Ultimate minus Energy Powerball. This is great because it's a free counter attack if your Unison is out, that you can play as many as you want in a turn. It doesn't negate the attack, but it does kill something 15k power or less, ignoring barrier, and sends it to their owner's warp. So that gets you out of some attacks, or you can just use it as a counter attack, make them mill one, and kill one of their cards that's helping them on their board. And then he has this activate main battle. You can choose one of your leader battle cards. It gets plus 15k. So it also is just some extra protection. We have Ultimate Dragon Quake. This card is bad in some scenarios and amazingly great in other scenarios. It really just depends on the matchup. It sends one battle card, one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost greater than their current energy, and sends it to warp. If they have 15 or fewer cards in their deck at the end of the turn, it doesn't come back. But if they have 16 or more, it comes back on the field. So usually mid-game, I can start pulling these out once we've milled them down enough and they've drawn enough. And it can be great just to take their cards away when they have like big, they've overwhelmed something, or they have something huge that they've played towards the end of the game. But it can also just be great to take things at the beginning of the game away, to kind of like a negate in that way. Even though it will come back. It does come back with its skills negated, obviously. But we do only play 2, because in decks that are low to the ground, it is not that great. It is really just there then to mill them for 1. Then we have these 2. We have Ultimate Flame Shot and Ultimate Ice Ray. We just play 2 of. These are both our ones that cost 2. So usually you want to make sure you're spirit boosting these, unless you're really unfortunate, have to pay 2 for them. Ultimate Flame Shot is very situational. They do end up milling twice, because they mill for the card and then they mill for your leader ability. And then it says you crit one of your own life and then you don't take any damage from that battle. So if they're coming at you with double strike, or if they're coming at you with something worse, quad strike, something horrible going on, then you can just say, Ultimate Flame Shot, and it's activate battle. So you can let them pump everything into it and say, we'll just crit 1. And then Ultimate Ice Ray is a kind of quasi-negate, that you activate, battle or something on an attack. They'll mill twice, and then you pitch 2 cards from your hand, and if you do, your opponent can only attack with battle cards 1 more time for the turn. So it's a nice control card. And those are all the extra cards. So this is the main way you are milling them out of the game. And one of the great things is said about Toa is you can take Shadow Dragon extra cards and put them back in the deck. So often you are playing a few of these and then using your Toa ability, upticking, and putting them back in your deck. Now we'll get to the Shadow Dragons. So first off, we have Nova Shenron, Power of Darkness. He is predominantly here because you'll use his limit 1, burst 1 ability, where you send him to your warp, you burst 1, and then you can pick a Black Shadow Dragon battle card with energy cost 5 or less from the top 5 of your cards. So he's really there to help ramp up your drop and get you to your Awaken sooner. But he can also be greater at later game. He does have crit, and he costs 3, and you'll see soon we can play some cheaper, some 3 drops and stuff for 1 energy with a different card. Then we have Oceana Shenron, Native Energy Explosion. This is kind of just the main control card of the deck. It is just a floodgate that you negate the attack, you discard 1, and if they attack you for the rest of the turn, they have to mill 4. And she has blocker. So essentially you're saying, stop this attack. They attack again, you can block, they have to mill 4. And then if they want to actually start doing damage, they have to mill even more. Which you will soon see adds up a lot. So we run 4, obviously. I've seen some builds that maybe run less, but I definitely think 4 is the way to go. And this is a nice staple for a lot of other decks as well. We're running 2 of these Sin Shenron Wicked Strike. This is just kind of an extra Shadow Dragon card. And as said, all of these cards have this ability that I mentioned earlier. This is just nice if you need a 1-drop to play, but it also lets you spirit boost a second time each turn. So you can either start spirit boosting on your front side, or you can just, towards the end of the game, it can be great to start spirit boosting 2 or 3 times because these markers can start really adding up. Then we have Shenron, Power of Darkness. This is one of the best 1-drops. This is the best 1-drop in the game for battle cards. That you play it, get its ability, and then activate main, pay 1, and you can choose 1 black Shadow Dragon card with energy cost 3 or less and play it. So you can play this Nova Shenron with crit, or you can play a whole variety of other things here. This Shenron Negative Energy Explosion. He is a crit blocker. When you swing with him, you choose one of their battle cards, send it to warp, and then he comes back to active mode. So you swing, hit him for crit, comes back as a blocker. We run 3 of him. We run 2 of the Shenron, Power of Darkness. He's a double strike. You can for 1, if you spirit boost, you can then play him for 1. We have Shenron, Negative Energy Explosion. He is a barrier blocker. And at the end of your turn, you switch him to active mode so you can swing with him, restand him. He's just a really annoying blocker. And we have this Natron Shenron. He is a little bit weird. He does have deflect and he is a blocker. When he is played, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 5 or less in their battle area or drop. He absorbs it, and then you choose one of the chosen card's keyword skills and he gains it. So you could grab something with double strike, you could grab something with barrier, depending on what you're looking for. So all of these cards can be played for 1 off this Shenron right here. So that's kind of the main thing you're doing other than playing extra cards is you'll be playing some of these, getting some blockers out to help protect your leader and your unison, and kind of helping clear out their board. Speaking of clearing out their board, this Omega Shenron Darkness Absorbed helps do that. For 1, you can kill one of your battle cards, place it in the drop area, and then you play this card. You take one of their battle cards, send it to warp, and then you have a 30k beater on the field, which can be nice. Especially sometimes you might want to pivot mid-game and start going for damage if you feel like you won't be able to mill. Things like that. Then we obviously have 4 super combos. The super combos are one of the only things that don't have that ability, probably because they assume you won't be playing them. They do have this other ability that I have never actually used, so I won't talk about it. But it's a normal super combo, other than it gets its plus 10k combo power and the draw 1 if you have Sparking 5. So we don't have any Overwhelm in this deck, but that is important to remember. I guess here's our pseudo Overwhelm is this. Now, if you really want to get some beats in, you decide halfway through the game you are not going to be able to mill them out. You might switch over to this Omega Shenron Ultimate Darkness. He has triple strike, same ability, but for 2, you can take 7 Shadow Dragons from your drop area, send them to warp, play him, get some beats in. We have this Shenron Native Energy Explosion also for some beats. He has deflect, double strike, barrier, blocker. So usually turn 4 or turn 5, if you really think you need to cinch the win, you can get him out, swing him, and then he has this activate main ability, Spirit Boost 1, switch him to active mode. Your opponent mills 1, choose 1 Shadow Dragon extra card in your hand, activate its skills without paying its cost. So you essentially get to mill him a few more times and while also getting this double strike hit. Then obviously we have the secret Shenron, Corrupted by the Darkness. He's great because you can pick him up off of Ultimate Whirlwind Spin for free. And then he's obviously just a great control card that, if you run out of your Oceanuses, maybe you don't have an Ice Ray in hand or something else, you just leave, you know, 2 up or 1 up, and you can combo with him. And ultimately, if you really need to, you can activate main for 4 and do some buku damage. So ultimately, this is a mill deck. I think exclusively milled with it and won. And a lot of it is just, you know, playing something, looking at the top card of your deck, saying, oh, I can grab that, bringing it to hand, you know, doing this, playing this, looking at your deck, bringing it to hand, over and over again. And then playing these extra cards where you will repeatedly look through your deck, grab things to play again, putting them back with Toa, on and on and on, milling them throughout the process. And your opponent will get very annoyed as you do it. But I have a lot of fun. So here is Shenron, and I hope you guys have fun with it. If you really want to annoy people at locals while getting a lot of value, he's your boy. So thanks everyone for watching. Feel free to like our video, subscribe to our channel, and hopefully we'll catch you on the next one. Bye everyone.